With the personal card getting a ton of fanfare, let's look at all the changes to the business version. From an increased annual fee to new credits that didn't previously exist, and updates to some old ones, making them actually relevant, there's a lot going on. Big favorite before we dive into everything though is to give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm. If you know someone that might benefit, then share this with them. First off is the annual fee. It is going up by $200 from $695 to $895. This new fee is for new card members, whether you apply or upgrade, and if you do renew, it's going to start on or after December 2nd, 2025. This is different from the personal one, which is January 2nd, 2026. This basically means that even if you don't like the changes, you might still want to keep it for an extra year, depending on timing. So for example, let's say your annual fee renews in November. Let's say November 8th, so that's $695, and then you don't have the $895 annual fee until next year. Okay, with that said, there were actually 2 waves of changes. The first batch happened over the summer, July 1st, 2025. This was for Adobe as well as Dell, and Adobe probably isn't relevant for most people, but it's actually a win in my book. So even though I used their software to edit videos, the old credit didn't really work since you had to be on the business plan rather than the personal one. With the new credit and how it updated, I can actually use it on the personal plan, so I'm actually getting $250 back. The Dell credit is in a weird spot and technically did reset from the prior version, so I think most people will just count the $150 and ignore the $1,000 that's tied to $5K in spend. I mentally don't like counting credits where you have to spend so much more for it to work. One thing to note though is that even if you're not buying a PC, they do have a lot of other items like camera equipment and gear that can work for this. A lot of people underestimate the cost of things. This current setup that I'm shooting on, just a camera and lens, not counting the mic, is already about $5,000. In my case, since I have multiple cameras and lenses for different things, I actually do get value, but I think for most people, it's going to be a zero. The other set of changes just happened last week, September 18th, 2025. These ones are a lot more useful, but a bit of a mixed bag. Starting at the most straightforward, we have a new elite status for Leaders Club. Enrollment is required and you're getting Sterling status. This is their highest public status, and you're going to get upgrades. You're higher up on the list than club status, and you also get daily continental breakfast for 2, early check-in and late checkout considerations, and Sixt Platinum status. Not bad at all. The most valuable benefit though is probably 5 pre-arrival upgrades annually, and you also get a 5% stay bonus. In case you're wondering, normally to get the status, you need to spend $5K per year on their hotels. Speaking of which, the hotels lean fancier. For example, the Chetty Andermatt is part of their program. We actually stayed there last year to go skiing, and it's a pretty nice hotel, probably one of the most beautiful ones out there, especially with the outdoor pool area and just convenient skiing. I think for that one, we ended up booking through Virtuoso since the perks were a bit better, but you would also get status here, so you could double dip. Another really good one is Capella Bangkok, which is a 2 Michelin Key hotel and #1 hotel in Bangkok. Also, depending on the list you're looking at, it's been considered the #1 hotel in the entire world. Better than the Rosewood Hong Kong and the best options in Lake Como and Paris. If you travel and you like fancy hotels, this isn't bad. Speaking of hotels, they did add a semi-annual credit totaling up to $600 per calendar year. This is on prepaid fine hotel and resorts and hotel collection stays. Reminder that FHR does not have a nightly minimum, but hotel collection does, and that's 2. So FHR, you could do 1 night and that's fine. If you want to be fancy and double dip the new status, you could go to the Chetty and get additional benefits. If you are trying to minimize out-of-pocket costs though, there are more affordable options. For example, the Denny Way in Portland is $155 base per night, so this would cover almost 2 nights. Vegas is another great choice, and I look at Palazzo for larger rooms and a convenient location. The Wynn if you like fancy and you don't mind a spa credit instead of food, and then Fontainebleau if you like something newer, but you also don't mind being further away. Yeah, I think Fontainebleau occupancy is a bit lower right now, so they're having more sales and deals. Outside of the US, it depends on where you go, but Asia tends to be the best value. For example, in Hong Kong, the Langham is a great pick and one we often go to. If you like fancy, you could do Regent Hong Kong, which is about $450 per night, but it's also one of the best hotels. Last month, it was named #1 city hotel in Asia, best hotel in Hong Kong, and 14th in the world. Yeah, just depends on where you go and how you want to play it, but there's a pretty big range. One negative change though is going to be the 35% airline bonus. So it has been updated and now it only works for your selected airline. In the past, it worked for any cabin for your selected airline, and also business class for any airline, and first class for any airline. The problem here is that there's a lot of airlines that you can't select. For a lot of business owners who have very sizable spend, this is a big devaluation. A lot of people are not happy with this since before you could lock in 1.5 cents per point on the sticker price for business and first class. With that said, there is a huge improvement for bigger spenders. In the past, you get 1.5x points on key business categories or purchases of 5K or more. Now instead of 1.5, you're getting 2x. So 33% more points. Along with transactions above 5K, key categories include US construction material and hardware suppliers, electronic good retailers, and software cloud system providers, and also shipping providers. This is the bread and butter option for a lot of business owners. On top of this, if you hit $250K in eligible spend in a calendar year, you get $1,200 flight credit for their travel portal, which feels pretty tangible. The other one is probably less valuable, so the up to $2,400 in credits for their account payable solution, so if you're not using them, then it doesn't matter. For the most part, I think this is a positive change, but it does depend on where you fall. If you are a smaller business and a more normal person with lower spend, they'll tell credit helps a ton and makes it easier to break even. If you are in their target audience and spending a decent amount on their card, then it's a pretty positive change given that you're getting a lot more points. There's a fair share of contractors and real estate people that end up running 1 to 2 mil through the card for the US construction materials and hardware suppliers. The caveat being that you're not being burnt by the change to the 35% airline bonus. For this and everything else, I'd recommend checking your math and that the numbers work in your favor. We do have a calculator that should pop up if you Google card name worth it Ask Sebi, and I'll also link it down below. On a side note, if you want to learn more about this card or pretty much any other card out there and you want to support the channel, we have links on the website asksebi.com and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links and offers are competitive, but otherwise it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. Reminder that the prior credits are still there and working. I'm going to speedrun these and I'll probably do a deeper dive in a future video. Starting the weakest one, we have Indeed, which I haven't really used, but let me know if you have. Most of my hiring has been referrals or other platforms, so this is a 0 for me. Clear Plus and Global Entry / TSA PreCheck are pretty good, but you might also have it from other cards. I do like Clear though, and it's a good line skip option when it makes sense. If the normal line's not long, I don't end up using it. The airline fee credit's still there and pretty easy if United, Delta, or Southwest. Pretty much a bank shot if you know what you're doing, or just do additional collections. I'll link to a blog post walking through this and some data points and what's worked. Main reason for a blog post is if it does change, it probably will eventually, I don't have to redo this entire video. For some things, I'm a bit hesitant about over spoon feeding. The Hilton one's a bit annoying, but workable if you stay at their hotels, and quarterly isn't ideal. Also, depending on how their hotels code, their restaurants might also count. This one I'm less scared to share since I feel like it's less likely to change, but there is a thread over on Flyer Talk walking through some examples of restaurants that are part of Hilton's that work for the credit. For example, Beauty Room at the Conrad downtown LA. Even some international options work, which is nice. At the same time, there are a bunch of failed data points, so be careful and double check or be the data point you want to see. Also feel free to share what's worked for you here. A lot of people, especially bigger spenders, might also just ignore these credits. Last one here is wireless, which is pretty easy, so put your payment method as the card, or if you have a few of them and you want to do other insurance stuff, then do partial payments. It probably takes a minute every month while watching Netflix or YouTube, or set up an agent to do it for you. In the same vein, the other benefits are also still there. For a lot of people, this is why they have the card. All these other credits and stuff are nice to have that make the annual fee more reasonable, but you're here for the benefits. The main perk is the lounge collection. This includes their own branded lounges, Delta Sky Clubs when flying Delta up to 10 times per calendar year, and also other partner ones like Lufthansa when flying Lufthansa, as well as Plaza lounges. Also a Priority Pass membership, which is okay in the US, but pretty good abroad. The travel multiplier for the flights and prepaid hotels booked on the travel portal are still there. Speaking of hotels, one perk a lot of people like is access to FHR, Fine Hotels and Resorts, given the benefits. This includes 12 p.m. check-in when available, room upgrades upon arrival when available, daily breakfast for two, $100 credit towards eligible charges, oftentimes food, but sometimes spa, and guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout. It depends on where you go, but we've loved it for Vegas and also Hong Kong. The last ones are Hilton Honors Gold and Marriott Bonvoy Gold Elite statuses. Not the craziest, but still not bad. For Hilton, you get space available room upgrades. Given where you are on the list, think higher floors, better views, and maybe corner rooms if you're lucky. The more tangible benefit though is daily food and beverage credits or continental breakfast, depending on the brand and the region. The Marriott one is a bit worse. Here you get 25% bonus points and 2 p.m. late checkout if available. The guaranteed welcome gift is only points though for Gold Elite compared to Platinum Elite where you might get breakfast or other offerings. Also, you are eligible for room upgrades, but only Platinum Elite members and above have select suites as part of this. So in a lot of ways, Platinum Elite status is the sweet spot for the Bonvoy program. Okay, back to the card. Overall, not a bad change. It very much depends on where your numbers fall. And again, I'd recommend running the numbers for your situation. That way you're making an educated decision. Google card name, worth it, ask Sebi, or check the calculator link down below. Again, if you want to learn more about cards, we have links on the website, asksebi.com, and down below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a mirror emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. What are your thoughts on the changes to the card? Which credits do you use, and how do you plan to use them? And also, which ones do you skip? Again, I don't end up using Indeed, but kind of curious if you do. Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favorite, thumbs up, share this, otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.